Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto and I'm a photographer. And today I'm going to take another photo walk here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. But before I start my photo walk, I'd like to thank you guys for 40,000 subscribers, because without you there wouldn't be this channel. So big thanks to you guys, and now let's take a walk. My gear today is the Sony a7 IV and the brand new 7Artisans 35mm f2 Leica M mount lens that I'm using on my Sony with an adapter. And I have to say a disclaimer, this is a review sample from 7Artisans, but this is not a paid advertisement or anything, just a normal photo walk with this brand new lens and my own camera. When 7Artisans approached me and they asked me if I'd like to review this lens, I accepted immediately because 35mm is my all-time favorite focal length, and I also hope this is a little bit similar to the Zeiss Loxia 35 f2 that I used to own some years ago. But let's take some pictures and see if this is anything like Zeiss Loxia or if this is any good in general, this lens. This is a fully manual lens. No connection, electronic connection between the lens and the camera whatsoever. And it has a couple of downsides. First of all, you won't get any exif data from the lens. So whenever you are looking at your pictures in post, you don't even know which lens you used. And also the automatic manual focusing aid will not work. You have to manually either engage the focus peaking or magnified view to be able to focus properly. But other than that, I think there are no major downsides from this being a fully manual lens. Of course, you have to focus manually with a manual focus lens, but there is no reason to walk away from manual focus lenses because of that. With mirrorless cameras, it's so easy to activate the magnified view or focus peaking or some other manual focus aids, and manual focusing is not difficult. There's also a very useful depth of field scale on the lens. And if you prefer to use hyperfocal distance, then it's relatively easy to set your desired distance, and from the depth of field scale you can see the depth of field at each aperture. Very convenient. One of the downsides with this Leica M lens is the minimum focusing distance, which in this case is 0.7 meters, and there is this pretty big leaf, and I can just about fit that in the picture, but nothing really smaller could fill the frame. Let me show you the picture like so. And that is really one of the downsides with these Leica M lenses, because they are designed for a rangefinder camera, which generally is not suitable for very close distances because of the parallax error. I think 35mm is just about the perfect focal length for all kinds of documentary, street and that kind of photography, and also for travel, in my opinion. Although lately I have also photographed a lot with the 40mm focal length, which is a little bit tighter than this, but still I think I still prefer the 35 as the, you know, the best overall lens. With a 35mm you can really shoot everything. You can shoot landscapes, cityscapes, nightscapes, portraits, and really everything perfectly. But what about you? Please leave a comment down below and tell me what is your favorite focal length. I'm not talking about your favorite lens, but your favorite focal length. Leave a comment down below. The build quality of this lens is quite impressive for such an affordable lens. It's all metal construction. There's a built-in tiny like a lens hood. I guess you can call this a lens hood. It doesn't quite feel as the same as the Leica Summicron, but when you consider the price of this lens, which is just a fraction of the Summicron, I think the value for money or value for quality is really good. The aperture ring has really nice soft half a stop clicks, and the focus ring is really smooth, and it has just about the right resistance, and there is this nice little focusing tab here which makes focusing really easy. But what about the optical quality of this 7Artisans 35mm f2? Many affordable Chinese lenses tend to be slightly soft, and they have a low contrast, wide open, and then they sharpen up when you stop down a few stops. But this lens is an exception. This is very sharp, especially in the mid part of the frame, already wide open at f2, as you can see in these sample portraits that I'm showing you right now. And I don't think the corner sharpness even matters that much wide open, because the depth of field is so shallow that only your main subject is going to be sharp anyway, and your main subject is most probably somewhere in the mid part of the frame anyway. And if you shoot landscapes or cityscapes or anything that requires corner to corner sharpness, use f4, f11 range, and you won't be disappointed with the results regarding sharpness and contrast. Vignetting is quite noticeable at f2, but it's mostly gone when you stop down to about f4. To me, vignetting always looks good, and I actually like a little bit of vignetting, so to me it's only a good thing that there is some vignetting at f2, and then I can control it by stopping down. I can't see any distortions, which is remarkable because this lens is optically corrected. There is no electronic in-camera correction involved whatsoever. In some circumstances, especially at night, I could see some flare, as you can see in this picture that I shot at f2. There was a street lamp right outside of the frame on the right side, and you can see there is some flare, but still I don't think the flare is any kind of a major problem in most situations. And also chromatic aberrations are quite well under control. I can't see much lateral or longitudinal chromatic aberrations, which is really great. And also the bokeh, out of focus blurry area, looks quite pleasing and soft to my eyes. Probably not the best I have ever seen, but very pleasing still indeed. But how does this compare to the Leica Summicron 35mm f2 lens? Last summer I had a chance to use the Summicron on the Leica M11, and to be really honest, I was not impressed by that lens. I mean, it's a $4,000 lens, and it's quite sharp, but it showed horrible longitudinal chromatic aberrations, as you can see in these pictures, and I think that is simply unacceptable for a $4,000 lens. And I think with $4,000 you should get some real-world performance and not just a badge or some engraving on the lens. The price for the 7Artisans 35mm f2 is around $300 US, so you can buy about 13 of these for the price of one Summicron. But then again, I think most Leica users are not really interested in the value. They just want the Leica badge or brand. In my opinion, this 7Artisans 35mm is a really great value for money if you are looking for a 35mm manual lens for a full frame camera. And of course you can put this on any mirrorless camera regardless of the sensor size with the right adapter. But on a full frame camera you will get the right 35mm angle of view. At the beginning of this video I hoped this could be something like the Loxia 35 f2. Well, I don't think this has quite the same character as the Loxia. The Loxia is quite a unique lens, and I think there can only be one Loxia 35 f2. But then again, that might be just my good memories with that lens because I shot so many great photos on that lens. However, I really like this 7Artisans 35mm f2. It is sharp, it has some nice character, doesn't have any major flaws, and it is very affordable. These manual focus lenses can be good fun, and they can slow you down and they can make you think a bit before you hit the shutter, and that's why I think everyone should own at least one manual focus lens and use it at least sometimes, and it just makes you photograph a little bit in a different way compared to fully automated autofocus lenses. I hope this video was useful for you guys, and if you found this useful, please consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a link down below for that if you don't live in Finland. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll definitely see you in the next video.